what does Israel want? Like, as a state, like, what do they want from the Palestinians? What do they expect? Do they expect to just keep the status quo, keep business going as usual, never let those people live a normal life? Like, what do they want? And why do they have so much hate? And why haven't the Israeli people, like, seen the horrors of this and rebelled?
Well, to be a leftist in Israel, it's difficult, and to be an anti-Zionist, it's even more difficult because you're rejecting your entire identity,
your religion as well
everything.
as your political identity.
But look, it's a settler colonial state, just like a lot of other things in the past. But this is different because it's ongoing, and ever since the inception of Israel to today, the colonizers who colonized that land always knew that there was an indigenous Arab population that they wanted to kill or expel. And that's still the goal, like from Ben Gurion himself, the original, prime minister of Israel. I mean, he said there's so many Arabs here, we need to expel them and take their places. So it was never a land without a people and a people without a land. It was always overrun with Arabs, and they've always just wanted to expel the indigenous population so they can have an ethno-supremacist state. And that's really what it is. And that's
so. Can you be? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but can you be a Muslim and live in Israel? Can you be a Muslim and live in Jerusalem?
Yeah, but there's so many discriminatory laws that basically it's an apartheid state for non-Jews.
Like, in what way? Like, what are the laws that?
I mean, there's so many things that people can check out, but I would really recommend the work of Miko Pilet and Ronnie Barkin. They're two anti-Zionist Israeli-born Jews who have extensively talked about this. But I mean, just in the roads, like there's settler-only roads compared to Palestinian.
Settler-only.
Yeah, compared to Palestinian roads, people have different license plates. You have different ID cards.
So if you are a person
segregated schools, like just all that stuff.
So you can't go to a regular school?
No, you can, but it's so segregated and hostile, and you're so indoctrinated from an early age to basically hate these people and think of them as the other. And I encourage everyone to check out interviews that I did with just average Israelis in the streets, because the genocidal rhetoric is very apparent and it's very open. And
is
these
there a good
people
one
were
that
talking
we could
to
play
me
right now?
Sure. Yeah, check out Abby Martin, Israelis, candid interview with Israelis.
Did you have one opinion of that situation before you went there and then a different one after you came back?
Well, I didn't even know what Palestine was until I was 18 years old. So when people say, oh, you're only telling us one side of the story, look, I didn't know the Palestine side of the story until I was an adult, which really should say something about our education system and our media when you completely obfuscate an entire reality and are only told one side. But before I went there, I had a conception of what it was, but once you go, you really see how much worse it is.
Says Israeli party approves annexation plan. Oh, sorry, I lost it.
Is this the... yeah. So go to...
Coerce Palestinian departure.
Yeah, go forward like a minute or two. Go forward like 2 minutes, yeah.
These people?
After this, keep going.
And what are you asking?
Okay,
these
this is
people?
good too.
Okay.
So yeah, start playing here. This is the thing, and also the Stand With Us people in the Israeli lobby basically said, oh, you cherry picked these interviews, you only picked like genocidal people to talk to. What the hell are you talking about? I was in Jerusalem. There's a place called Tolerance Square. It's a bustling shopping area. I spoke to people from all backgrounds, all walks of life, and I just asked them very simple questions. What is it like to live here? How do you deal with the, problems? And basically they just were very, very readily comfortable to tell me very crazy genocidal things on camera, thinking that would actually look good for an American audience. So keep that in mind and check this out. A lot of people are sympathizing with the Palestinian plight. Can you talk about what it's like to kind of live in this situation?
First of all, it's very hard. I'm in an organization. It's called Lahava. It's against the Jews shouldn't marry Arabs.
Did you say the organization did what again?
The organization is, the thing of it is that Jews shouldn't marry Arabs.
Shouldn't marry Arabs. Why do you feel strongly about that?
Because Jews is a special nation that God gave it to the Jews, and we don't want Jews to get mixed up together with a different nation.
I think Israelis have to take over, and they have to kick them away. It will be much better not to kill them, just to to go back to Arab countries.
As if they didn't live
You can't deal with
there.
these people. There's no need to try. There's no need to talk to them. What we can do is when they do enough harm, we retaliate. That's war, and that's the situation that any Jew who lives in Israel has to deal with.
יש לך משהו להגיד, היא אומרת
על מה? על
גם
מה?
ככה ערבים, מקסימום.
אוקיי.
The Arabs
בסדר
made their name
בעברית?
and memory be
פשוט מאוד,
liberated.
צריך להיכנס לשטחים.
Obliterated. It's about to get really
וכל מחבל שעושה
crazy.
פיגוע צריך להרוג אותו, צריך להרוג את
We have to kill
המחבלים, ואז הם
terrorists. They'd be
יפחדו ולא
afraid to
יעשו
cause
לנו
us any more
בעיות, והכל יהיה
trouble,
בסדר.
and all
הם
will
יהיו
be
בכפרים
fine.
שלהם,
They'll be in their
אנחנו
villages,
נחיה
and
פה,
we'll
לא
be
צריך
here.
להיות ביחד והכל בסדר.
We don't have to live together, and everything will be just fine.
Every Arab that doing a terrorism attack, we have to kill him, and not because he's an Arab, because he's a terrorist. I think you should also kick out the family, because it's all begins with chinuch. I would say
He's wearing a Sons of Anarchy T-shirt, by the way, which is just
whatever
so
they teach
strange.
the kids does. You know, it's families.
I'm
This is
seeing
the-
that
this is
we
insane.
need to... איך אומרים להעיף את הערבים? כן, כן, תגידי לי את המילה הזאת.
How do you say kick out the Arabs?
נו, תגידי לי מילים, אני לא...
Come on, tell me the words. I don't know.
She's like, I don't
I can't
translate.
translate.
She doesn't want to say it.
translate really well.
I think we should give them a country. If you're doing any problem, you just go in there to give them a country, and then it's going to be a war between countries. You know, if they're going to throw rockets, we're going to throw one big one and done.
I don't think there's any answer.
This is insane.
There's only one way. Like, I would carpet bomb them.
You would
That-
carpet bomb them?
It's the only way you could deal with it. Like, or try to stop them a different way. It never worked.
You mean all Arabs or Gaza or...
I believe that they, like, I hope to believe they're not, but I do think they are, cause I don't trust them.
One more
You can't
crazy one
trust them.
coming up.
And that's the only way I believe that. The only way is just to stop it completely.
I think that we're miserable. The Arabs make a פיגועים and we need to
The
kill
Arabs make a
Arabs.
A terrorist attack.
We need to kill
the
Arabs.
Arabs. She's laughing.
My
That's,
friend's like, all right, have a good day.
We'll talk about this later.
I
he
mean,
says.
look, this is reflected in polls. A lot of people, when you look at Israeli society, you know, it started off as kind of a socialist project with the kibbutzes, and now it's just turned into a fascist, supremacist state where Netanyahu reflects the true face of Israel, just like Trump reflects the true face of this country. And when it's getting too toxic for even Natalie Portman to be this ambassador to Israel, you know that the tide is turning. But unfortunately, there's so much shit going on. Congress hasn't said anything. They just totally support this, man. And there's weird like BDS legislation trying to criminalize basically dissent, where you have contractors in Texas having to sign clauses, promise that they won't support boycott of Israel in order to rebuild hurricane homes.
What is BDS?
Boycott, divestment, sanctions. It's the movement that Palestinians have asked us to help them to, boycott. And that's what Stephen Hawking was all about. He boycotted scientific conferences in Tel Aviv. So this is what we got to do, and we have to fight our government to stop endorsing these massacres and atrocities.
Well, obviously, this attitude that these people have, it's coming from a place, and they were talking about terrorist attacks. Like, how many terrorist attacks are actually happening in Jerusalem or in Israel?
If you look at the breakdown of terrorist attacks, how many are against soldiers? And that really gives you an insight. Look, these people are being occupied militarily. The occupation is illegal under international law. And resistance is a lot of times acceptable under international law when you're being illegally occupied. So if you
there
look
are
at
terrorist attacks against Israel.
Not many. And when you look at the actual amount of people when you look at those terrorist attacks and see how many are against soldiers, like how many stabbing attacks are against soldiers, the numbers become very different.
Don't you think it's a bit different in Israel, and they're more unified because of the fact that mandatory military service exists?
Totally.
So everyone is, if soldiers are attacked, citizens are attacked, they're all the same thing. Everyone is a soldier in Israel, essentially.
Well, no, a lot of these are like armed soldiers that are
Right, but I'm
guarding
saying
outposts and
everyone
stuff.
identifies
Has
with that because they
mentality.
have to do military
Totally.
time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the same thing with South Korea. Places that have mandatory military service, they have a totally different idea and concept of nationalism.